Ottawa is urging citizens who are in Lebanon, Canadian citizens, to leave immediately.
My point to all of us watching, if you are offered a seat, please take it. And it is time to leave Lebanon now. And please don't go to Lebanon. I know it's a tough choice. I know that the situation is extremely difficult, but my priority is your security. And that's why if you're offered a seat, please take it.
Okay, the CBC's Marina von Stackelberg is tracking the government's response in Ottawa to what we're seeing today. Marina, that was really in response to what was a big focus this morning when it came to Israel's ground incursion. It's been described by Israel as a limited ground incursion into southern Lebanon, targeting Hezbollah infrastructure there, but reiterating yet again that Canadian citizens in Lebanon should get out.
Yeah, she basically said the security situation is getting increasingly dangerous and volatile. The Canadian government has been warning for months that Canadians in Lebanon should be getting out, but heightening that warning today, saying that try to get out now while commercial means are still available. And we did get an update from Foreign Affairs Minister Mélanie Joly on those numbers. 200 Canadians out today on a commercial flight out of Beirut bound for Istanbul. 200 more Canadians over the weekend. And Mélanie Joly also said that they have reserved an additional 600 seats for evacuation. They are looking for more. But a big point she was making today when she spoke to reporters was that of those 600 seats, some of those have not actually been spoken for. She said about 4,000 people in Lebanon have reached out to the Canadian consulate to ask for information about a potential departure, but she says less than 1/4 of those people have actually taken up that offer. Once again, reiterating that it is a tough decision for many people who are in Lebanon, many Canadians, but something that she says and is urging people to do and to get out now.
Marina, what did the Foreign Affairs Minister have to say about Iran's missile attack on Israel?
Yeah, she condemned it right off the top in her opening remarks and said that it will only further destabilize the region. She was also asked, is Canada asking Israel not to respond to this attack? And she said that Israel needs to be able to protect itself, and that's why Canada will continue to support the country's security. And at the same time, she said, we need to make sure that the parties sit down and the war stops and there is no further escalation. She was then asked, is it on Israel to find a diplomatic solution? Have a listen.
Last week, we were on the verge of a ceasefire. That didn't happen. When I went to bed on Wednesday night, I was convinced that there was a ceasefire. And so, it wasn't. Well, parties need to accept, and they need to engage in diplomacy. But right now, there's not happening between parties. And we're many of us around the G7, many other Arab foreign ministers putting a lot of pressure. And that's why we need a ceasefire to happen.
And she said, really, this is on all parties, her wording, all parties to get towards a ceasefire and find a diplomatic solution. On that, she said she had been in contact with her Israeli counterparts, Arab countries, the G7, and consulates in the region as well.
Yeah, it really stands out how she described that, Marina, saying that she went to bed Wednesday night thinking that it was going to happen, and then it didn't, and now here we are. We also heard about the Canadian operations on the ground from Bill Blair. So what did he have to say about it?
Yeah, so the defense minister gave an update as well this morning. I think it was this morning. Time is moving pretty quickly here, but he said about 200 Canadian Armed Forces members are in the region right now, and that is to specifically help get Canadians out. This is not a military operation, but he said they are ready to increase their military support to help Canadians with the evacuation if needed. But again, mentioning again that they are still relying on commercial flights as a way for people to get out. He said as of today, there were 6 commercial airlines flying out of Beirut. 60 flights in total left the airport there today. Now, he was also asked, what is the risk of an all-out war here? He said he remains hopeful for a ceasefire and a diplomatic resolution. He was also asked if Israel's raids into Lebanon amount to an invasion. Have a listen.
At the current time, we understand that, and it's not without precedent, that there are some incursions and some raids that have been taking place immediately across the border. I think from our perspective, it doesn't amount to a full-scale invasion, but it could be preparatory to that, and so we're watching with increasing concern, and we are still calling for a ceasefire and working very closely with allies to try to achieve a diplomatic resolution.
And we will be hearing more discussion on this issue because we do know that a House of Commons emergency debate is scheduled for this evening on this issue, which will be talking about Canada's response to the crisis, including its evacuation measures.
Yes, Israel's ambassador to Canada was just mentioning that to us as well, something that he'll be looking forward to too. Marina, thank you so much. That's Marina von Stackelberg in Ottawa.